Good morning. Welcome to the Working Trader, where we look at the Euro USD and GBPUSD and come up with trade analysis for the day. So let's jump into Forex Factory before we do a recap and look at today's trade ideas, if there are any. Today we have PPI news event, so we can expect a bit of movement to be injected after the news event. So yesterday we had CPI. Okay, yesterday we had CPI. So let's look at what the charts look like today after that. So looking at Euro USD, we have this demand on the daily that is holding. Okay, we have that daily demand that is holding. We mitigated the supply, and since then we started pulling back. We've had an internal break of structure, so this could be simply a pullback, an internal pullback, and we have been expecting that if the bullish trend is to continue, this is the daily demand zone from where the market could turn, okay, and start going bullish, targeting the week daily high. So until now, we can see that the POI is still holding. So looking at the 4 hour, we had this demand which did not hold, so we were expecting that at least price will react from the extreme. Okay, will react from this extreme for our POI. Now 4 hour internal is still bearish. Okay, and we had a choke, so which was simply to facilitate 4 hour internal pullback, and now it seems we are bearish again. And then looking at the 1 hour, this PI did not work, so we are expecting, I was saying that I might be expecting this last POI to be the one where we get a reaction and get at least 2R from there. Okay, so I'm in that position right now, so all we can do is now wait and see if we reach 2R with that. So that's 15, 16. And then 2.2 to cover commissions and spreads. So that's the expectation on this one. So I'm already in that position. So that's from a Euro USD. That's what we were expecting yesterday. And then in terms of the news, CPI created this candle here. As you can see, it's got a large wick at the top and a relatively large wick at the bottom. So on lower time frames, you'll notice that it took both sides, it swept both sides of the market. Okay, so it came down, took the lows here for those who were looking to go long, and then it came up and took the highs for those who were willing to go short. And then after taking both sides of the participants out, then this is the real move that then took place. Okay, on high time frames, you wouldn't be affected, right? If you're waiting on the 1 hour, because this was the only demand area where you would be waiting for. If anything, you'd be waiting for CPI or that news event to cause price to drop like it did, and then get a reaction. Okay. So looking at GBPUSD. GBPUSD, we have this demand as well, and CPI I think caused price to mitigate the supply and then have a sharp drop afterwards. Okay, on lower time frames, I'm sure it swept both sides of the participants as well. Okay, before this move actually then took place. So, however, we've had these minor structure breaks. Okay, they're not really convincing. So, as of now, I'm simply just calling them sweeps of liquidity. Okay, so up until price eliminates this POI convincingly, or eliminates this one convincingly, then we can say, okay, we have a true break of structure. But as it stands, we just had a tiny movement above these highs, and then immediately we pulled back. And then same here, we had a small movement below, and then immediately pulled back up. So in a way, we are just within this range. Okay, so obviously we are still low of the range, so it's possible that price could continue bullish. And then on the 4-hour, it's more clearer. Okay, we had a bearish break of structure, and then price came up to mitigate this 4-hour supply zone. Okay, this 4-hour supply zone, and then from there we had a very good strong reaction. And then I was saying on lower time frames, so let's go to the 1 hour. Okay, maybe let's see. So okay, so on the 4-hour, yes, we've had a break of structure internal, but we've also had a change of character bullish. So this was just either to facilitate the internal pullback, okay, and then it did the pullback up to the supply. So this was an area where we could have been looking for shorts, okay. And then I was saying that if price pulls back to this area of demand before hitting this supply, then we would be looking for longs. Or if it hits this supply first, then we'd be looking for shorts. Okay. So on 1 hour, it was more clearer. So I think price was around here yesterday when we were doing the analysis, and the expectation was that if price mitigates the 4-hour, then we can expect price to pull back and possibly eliminate this supply, okay, and possibly eliminate that supply. However, as it stands, that supply is still holding. Okay, we've had this mitigation and that supply is still holding. However, as we are getting into London session, it may not hold for long. Okay, we might have an aggressive push to take price, to take out this level, and then mitigate this extreme, where possibly we might have a bigger reaction bullish. So those were the trade ideas yesterday, and as you can see, the bearish one on the pound is played out. likewise on the Euro USD. Okay, so looking on to today, the idea is still the same. This daily demand is still holding, so because it's still holding, we can still anticipate that price could be willing to go bullish. Okay, however, because we've had this strong downward movement, it's likely that price could just consolidate, for the next few days. But as long as this demand is still holding, we can anticipate that price could start going up. So looking at the 4-hour, this 4-hour demand is still being respected. It's nested within this daily demand. We've had a bullish change of character. So this is the extreme that is unmitigated. Now it's been tapped. Price is giving somewhat a reaction. So we can expect a continuation if price is to continue bullish. Okay, if price is to continue bullish, we can expect a reaction from there. And then looking at 1-hour, really this is the only POI that is at play right now. So if you're wanting to take longs, you could set up your order, all right, and just wait, assuming or hoping that price might dig a little bit deeper, maybe take out these lows, okay, sweep these lows, and then start going up. Okay, so this 4-hour supply has already been mitigated and we've had a strong reaction. Okay, and it's pretty much almost used up, so we have created relatively core highs. So it's likely that price could continue bullish and take out the supply. Okay, so this one, currently I'm leaning a bit more bullish than bearish. Okay, I'm leaning a bit more bullish than bearish. Of course, it's sort of counter trend. Okay, sort of counter trend, but I'm leaning a bit more bullish than bearish. And then, so that's the trade idea for the Euro USD. Looking for longs going up like that. And then for the pound dollar, let's see if we go. We have so okay, so this demand on the daily still being respected. Okay, and we are stuck within this range. So we are kind of low in the range, so we could just push up maybe towards these highs. Who knows? Let's see on the lower time frames. So on the lower time frames, this first demand has been respected. This is on the 4-hour, so it hasn't been eliminated, so it's still being respected. So because it's being respected, we can expect a bit of a push up. This POI has already been mitigated. It has already had a strong reaction into this demand, so we could, if price gets up there, we can expect deeper mitigation and possibly elimination of this supply. So yes, this is a weak low, okay, on the 4-hour internal, but because we've had a change of character, okay, I am slightly bullish, because we don't have any any bearish POIs to look at the moment, at least on the 4 hour. So looking at the 1 hour price did mitigate the extreme. Okay, price did mitigate the extreme, and then it's had a decent push up. Okay, so we can expect maybe price to continue a bit further, maybe towards this area up here. Okay, this is not supply because it hasn't done its job. Okay, but it's an area where price could come in, could give a reaction, or even continue. Okay, but as it stands, even on the pound, I am a little bit more bullish as well than bearish. Okay, so with where price is, if it's to continue bullish, I do not expect it to come back again into this zone. So we put 13 pips and then 2.2 will be around there. Okay, so yeah, it's within reason. It's within reason for us to expect price to at least hit that TP. Okay, at least price to hit that TP. I'm also in this trade. Although this is not a high probability one, a better probability one is the bottom one, which will be at the extreme because we've mitigated because at this point we would have mitigated the daily supply, which is a nested 4 hour, which is a nested 1 hour, where prices reacted strongly. Okay, and then on this one there's no adjustment, so it's likely to fail. Okay, however, we've had good departure, a good base. Okay, we don't have too many candles in the base as well, so that's probably why I took a long here. Same here at the bottom. So if this was to fail, then you'd set another limit here and then wait for the same thing. Okay, so those are the trade ideas for today. So today we are sort of more bullish than bearish because price has already moved away from supply zones and we are now in demand areas. So because we are low in the curve, it's better to buy even though we are counter trend. Okay, so those are the trade ideas for the day. So if you find value with this material, please hit the like and subscribe and leave a comment. Other than that, have a good day. A working trader out.